Timiskaming Cochrane.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Yesterday, the Premier stated that the $5.5 million hydro ad campaign, which was designed to boost Liberal polling numbers, was important because people in the province needed to know the details about government programs that are in place.
Minister of Economic Development.
Can the Premier tell us, do these ads inform Ontarians that under the Liberal Hydro Plan, a government program, their hydro bills will begin going up shortly after the next election?
Thank you.
Minister of Energy.
Thank you. Minister of Energy.
Because it's important to state, Mr. Speaker, that Ontario remains the only jurisdiction in Canada to enact legislation that bans government-paid partisan advertising. And we passed this historic legislation because we are against government using taxpayer dollars for partisan advertising, Mr. Speaker. I, had the honour of sitting in the House of Commons for 6 years when the Leader of the Opposition stood up and supported his government's action plan at the time, and he would defend that, Mr. Speaker. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, that said, Mr. Speaker, the Ontario government has a responsibility to raise awareness and communicate information about programs and services that affect the people of Ontario. And this includes informing Ontarians of changes to their electricity bills so that they can use this information to plan for the future. And all ads direct Ontarians to a dedicated website where they can learn more about these changes, Mr. Speaker, and lower their bills even more.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Once again to the Premier, perhaps the government should think about informing Ontarians so they can plan for the future about all the details of the programs. Because can the Premier tell us why the ads fail to mention that Ontarians will spend nearly 2 decades, a total of over $21 billion more than they would without the Ontario Hydro Plan?
Thank you. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, when it comes to all of the programs that are being offered, the Ontario Electricity Support Program is one of those programs, Mr. Speaker. There are many that you can find on this website, and this offers significant support to low-income households across the province, and we've been doing everything we can to get enrollment even higher on this, Mr. Speaker. We've put inserts in people's bills, we've created these advertisements and more, but you know, Mr. Speaker, the NDP's support for this program is less clear, Mr. Speaker. And you know, when you're talking about advertisement, and we said it's a government responsibility to communicate information about programs and services that people need, let's go through some of the largest advertising spends of 2015-2016. Mr. Speaker, our sexual violence and harassment campaign. Will you help? Who will you help challenge desisting attitudes and spark international discussion? We've communicated to Ontarians about vaccines for children in Ontario. We do many, many things, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that we let Ontarians know about the programs and services that are available to them.